There are moments in life that last no more than a few minutes, yet their echoes can change the heart of an entire community, or at the very least the heart of one person. It didn't happen in a grand building, nor was it broadcast on television. It took place in the most unexpected of places, a small gas station in the suburbs of the American South, where everyone is always in a rush, and no one expects to witness something that could leave them speechless. And the person who made it happen wasn't a celebrity. There were no TV cameras, no flashing lights, just a black man, and a prejudiced remark spoken aloud in broad daylight. It was a sweltering afternoon in early August. The sunlight poured onto the asphalt, making the air feel thick and heavy. At a small gas station on the outskirts of Willow Creek, Georgia, a black man in his 40s stood patiently, waiting to fuel up. His name was Malik Johnson. He wore a faded blue shirt, khaki pants, and worn-out work shoes. In his hand was a bottle of water, and in the trunk of his car were a few bags of groceries. He had just finished a shift at a construction site a few miles away. Sweat still clung to his brow, but his face remained calm, and his tired eyes held a quiet warmth. Next to him stood an older white woman, Mrs. Doris, around 65, neatly dressed with sunglasses on, pumping gas into her new SUV. She looked Malik up and down with suspicion, then suddenly said, not loudly, but loud enough for him to hear, "I don't understand why people like you don't just go back to where you came from." Malik said nothing. Others nearby, a truck driver, a delivery worker, and a young couple stepping out of the convenience store, had heard it too. No one spoke, but the air felt suddenly still. Mrs. Doris seemed pleased with the silence. She continued, "This is America, not a place for people like you to wander around looking for handouts." Malik slowly set his water bottle down. He turned to face her. His expression wasn't angry, just unusually calm. And then in a steady, low voice, he spoke. "Do you know where I come from, ma'am?" Mrs. Doris scoffed. "I know enough." Malik took one step forward, not in confrontation, but as if to draw everyone into the story he was about to share. Then with a steady voice, he began. "I was born in Macon, Georgia. My father was a carpenter. My mother was a janitor at the local high school. My grandfather was once beaten for walking into a whites-only diner, but he never gave up. My grandmother was one of the first women to join the civil rights movement in this state. She was arrested, hosed down, and humiliated, just for wanting to go to school." He paused. The small crowd had started to listen more intently. "You said I should go back to where I belong, but that place is right here. I belong to the soil where my family shed sweat, tears, and sometimes even blood, helping build this country. I pay taxes. I work every day from 5 in the morning. I'm raising 2 kids. I go to church on Sundays, and I teach my children to respect others, even those who don't respect them." A young woman suddenly spoke up. "I'm sorry, but you're right. This is your home as much as it is anyone's." Malik nodded in gratitude, then turned back to Mrs. Doris, who now looked uncomfortable. But he continued, his voice gentler, yet deeper. "I'm not here to argue. I just want people to understand. I'm not a stranger. I'm part of this country, and my history, no matter how painful, is part of our shared story. If you can't see that, then the one who's lost isn't me." Silence fell over the gas station. The pumps stopped humming. No one said a word. Mrs. Doris looked at Malik, her gaze no longer cold but something else. Perhaps surprise, perhaps shame, perhaps awakening. She spoke slowly. I didn't think about all of that. I just see the world changing and it scares me." Malik didn't blame her. He gave a small nod. "It's okay to be afraid, but hatred is not the way to deal with fear. I don't need you to like me, but if you can see me as a fellow human being, that's already enough." An older man, the truck driver, stepped forward and shook Malik's hand. "You spoke real good, son. I served overseas. I know what it means to depend on each other to survive. Same goes here." A little girl, maybe 8 years old, holding her mother's hand, looked up at Malik and said, "Mister, you made my heart feel warm." Malik bent down and smiled. "You know what? Every time you choose kindness, you're already making the world a better place." Finally, Mrs. Doris, perhaps for the first time in many years, extended her hand, her voice soft. Thank you for not yelling, and I'm sorry. Malik shook her hand gently. I accept that. Let's live together like neighbors. Can we? She nodded. The crowd began to clap. Not loudly, but with a quiet respect for the man who had just made them reflect. Before leaving, Malik turned back to the group and said, I may be just an ordinary man, but I believe every small act we choose carries power. We don't have to be the same to live side by side. We just have to choose to treat each other with heart. The story didn't end with shouting, nor with argument, but with a quiet touch to the heart. Malik didn't use force, nor slogans. He used truth, history, empathy, and dignity to respond to prejudice. Not to humiliate, but to remind us. Human worth knows no color. And sometimes the most transformative moments come not from grand stages, but from an ordinary man at a small gas station, with a voice that made the world fall silent, and then quietly nod in understanding.